beep beep. What is up, ninjas? My name is Sam World, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you guys 3 ways to get your tech house drums to sound punchier like my beep beeps. Alright guys, and those 3 ways are going to be utilizing the fades inside of Ableton, utilizing compression, and also utilizing gate. Now these are 3 ways you can do it, guys. It doesn't mean you have to use them all at once. You might use a gate for maybe like your drum loops, while the compression on individual drums and on the bus, and as well the fades obviously on your drum samples. Let's say you have a clap that sounds like pah, but then you want it to sound a little tighter. Then what you would probably do is shorten or decrease the volume on the tail of the clap so you get more of the pop on it and less of the to it, and that will in essence give you a punchy drum. These 3 ways are going to be doing that, guys. And again, we also have transient shapers that you can utilize, but I'm avoiding that one because I know that's more of the common sense one to use. You up the attack on it and whatnot. As always, guys, if you want to support my channel, make sure to head over to evilsounds.com. I am currently working on Deceiver Volume 3 for you guys. And with that being said, let's get inside of Ableton. Alright guys, and welcome inside of Ableton. Now today I'm going to be showing you guys 3 ways that you can make your drums sound punchier, and I'm going to leave out the transient shaper because that one is a little self-explanatory. If you want, like, let's say the clap to sound punchier, you increase the attack and you can sort of lower the sustain. So the transient shaper is going to do a couple of similar things that we're going to be doing, but again, each one has its own flavor. Now the first thing we can do, guys, is we can utilize the fade feature inside of Ableton in order to get this to sound tighter, very similar to what the transient shaper is doing, without increasing the volume too much, like the transient shaper can do if you don't have the clip setting on. Okay, so when in automation modes, turn that off, and then when you pull this back, you can now see there's a little bit of a fade that you can do. And as you can see, you can tighten it up. So essentially what's going to happen here is everything, as you can see, behind the clap in a certain way is going to get a little quieter. So that's going to allow you to tighten it up. Okay, and that's the first way of doing stuff. So whenever you have that option available, go for it, because then you can, again, compress, but a lot of people seem to fuck that up. So again, that's the first way. The second way is that we can utilize compression. Now let's get all the loop going here. Now let's say I want to compress the clap and I want to make it sound punchier. What we're going to do is utilize a compressor. We're going to use the Ableton one just because I know you all have it. Now the first thing to do is get rid of the makeup gain, because a lot of people will have it on and pull it down and they go like, oh Sam, it made it louder. And the makeup gain doesn't really care where you're at or how much gain reduction you have. It feels like the more you pull down, no matter what, the louder it gets. So it's a bit weird how it works for me, and I don't like having it on. I'd rather make it up myself with the out here. But what I'm going to do here is have a ratio of infinite to 1. And the reason for that is just because I want to set myself up so that, you know, I know what's being allowed through the compressor before compression kicks in, because the attack is going to decide how long it takes for the compressor to kick in after the threshold is met. Now I can show you guys here an example of how that looks like. First off, the clap again looks like that. Now if I have this infinite to 1, which is not what we're going to run it at, it's just, again, a way to set it up easily. You can see the claps all getting squashed, gain reduction, reducing volume. The higher the attack, you can see that we're allowing more of this area through, higher attack. A lot more. Okay, now this far is staying the same, but if I go high, everything's allowed through. Let's go. So again, what you're hearing right now is what the compressor's not going to touch, what it's going to allow through, that little click in the beginning. So it's very similar to what we did with the fades again, but again, you know, sometimes compressors can have sort of like a nice color to them or saturate in a nice way, especially when you use analog modeled ones that you might want to reach for it. So from here, we're going to lower down our ratio. The higher the ratio, the harder the compression. So just play around with it once you have your value set. And you can see how the dynamics change on the clap. So this is with compression, without. So you can kind of see this part got louder, this got louder and all that. But again, this first beginning stays the same, as you can see there. And the higher the... Okay, so again, we can kind of go use this to make it sound tighter. Now, if we hear this in retrospect with the loop, I'll be turning it on and off for you guys. You can see how it works. Now we can do this to a lot of sounds if you want to, and you're going to be controlling the dynamics on the sound. In essence, you're shaping them a little bit more. For instance, the open hat, I can definitely make it tighter as well. And what I want to look at here is the volume. I don't want it to go lower, 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 because then you're just compressing and reducing too much, and that's not what you want. You want it to, again, allow the first part of the sound through, but then the rest gets kind of squashed. We can also do it to the hats here. I have a bit of delay on them, but we can also do it there. Then we can also do it to the shaker loop. You can kind of see this one, there's a bit of imbalance in volume, a little bit too loud at certain parts. Those are dynamics you can kind of see. So we can maybe clamp down on that a bit. Just a little bit. And of course, we can also do it on the kick. Let's say we want the kick to be punchier. Then we can just do a bit of attack. Let's go like 70. So now if we get rid of, again, all the compressors we've added, I'll do like a before and after for you guys. So you can hear the difference that these compressors are making in order to tighten stuff up a bit. Now, the last way to get your drums to sound a little tighter, guys, is going to be to utilize a gate. Now, the way the gate works is essentially like a bouncer, very similar to the compressor, but it's different. The moment threshold is hit, the sound is allowed out, and the moment it's not hit, it's essentially shut. And then you're going to use your release, hold, attack, and floor values in order to kind of get the one you want. So, for instance, let's say here we have a loop like this shaker. And you want to tighten it, so we're going to pull down the threshold. Over here. So this thing you see here is when it's shutting off. And again, we can control that with the release. Okay, we can also use it on the clap for say. And let's say you have the full out drum loop and you just want to do it to it all. You can also utilize this on the drum bus, which I don't recommend. I mean, if you can do it individually, cool. Or if you're utilizing drum loops and you want to tighten that up, then the gate is the way to go. But again, we can also do it there. So in review, the gate is going to allow stuff out when the threshold is hit. And when the threshold is not hit, then your release is going to control how long it takes for it to go down. I don't find myself using the attack too much on the gate when I'm utilizing it for drums. It's mainly going to come down to the release that I'm going to be setting. And again, messing with the threshold and the return value. Now, if you want definitions for those, you can click this arrow here. And Ableton's going to tell you what the return, what the floor is for. But in retrospect, I think it's super simple. And as you can see, you can utilize it to, again, shape the drums in any way or form that you want. With that being said, guys, those are going to be the 3 ways that you can utilize to make your drum sound a little bit tighter and punchier. You know, for me, tighter drums, punchier drums just comes from the way they are shaped. They don't have long releases like shh. Instead, it's going to sound like rather than shh. Okay, so you can utilize, again, the gate, your shaper inside of Ableton, the fades, and the compression in order to shape these sounds to the way that you want in order for them to sound punchier, tighter. With that being said, guys, I'll catch you guys for another video. You guys take care, and you guys have a good night.